Hey everybody, welcome to the Thriving Lives podcast, our weekly community Zoom call. Renee, how you doing this Wednesday?
Doing great. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Just got back from a run with boss.
That's good.
Unfortunately, he seems like he's in better shape than myself, and he hasn't been doing a whole lot. So I need to ramp up the cardio, I think, a little bit.
I feel like dogs get excited. Like Knox right now when I walk him, he like is psycho the first like 5 to 10 minutes of the walk, and then
Yeah,
he'll like chill out. But like since
yeah,
we haven't been walking as much, well, now we've been walking more than we had all winter.
yeah.
But but we went on a really long walk, like for an hour the other day, and I thought he was just going to like start laying down in the middle of
Yeah.
the trail. And I was like, well, we got to keep going, buddy. Like we got to turn around.
Yeah, we got to get home.
Um, but
Boss
we
does a
don't
good
usually
job.
take walks that long.
Boss does a good job on our walks, but once we get home, he acts like I just gave him pre-workout. Like he's absolutely hyped. Like I got downstairs ready to get on this right when we got back, and he's running sprints back and forth, jumping on the couch. Which I mean, he's 110 pounds. Like he's gonna tear up the couch with
Yeah.
his mitts. So I had to send him outside. So I don't know what he's doing out there. He's tearing down the fence. He's building a clubhouse. I don't know what he's doing. Definitely going.
Playing with that deflated ball.
Yes, yeah, yeah. He's like six.
He
Back when
loves that thing.
back when I was a PE teacher. Well, which one are you talking about? The big hard one or just like the rubber ones?
The rubber one that was quite literally deflated.
Oh yeah, well, there's six of those out there right now. Because
Oh,
when I used to, I have an entire bag of recess or like PE balls, so like footballs and soccer balls and basketballs that I took from my gym when I was teaching because they were all deflated already, like they already had holes in them or whatever. So then he just gets like the mostly deflated balls that would have been tossed out anyway. So I still have a whole bag of like 30 more of them ready to go for whenever I need to cycle them in. But anyway, though, how was your last week though? I know that you had your incisions a couple weeks ago on your leg, and
hmm.
yeah, when do you get back to working out? Or you've been working out, just not legs.
So I've been doing upper body.
Okay.
Last weekend I did upper body Friday, Saturday, or whatever day it was, Saturday, Sunday, maybe. Saturday, Sunday, and then I went on some walks throughout the week. So it was nice out. And then
Advanced
now the
weather.
countdown is on to leg day, maybe on maybe Tuesday.
Nice.
Um,
Now
I
it's
can
only
try.
been a few weeks since you couldn't work out right on legs.
Yeah, it's been since
That'll
like
be that'll probably be like
January. Like my last leg day, I think was like January 20th.
oh, okay, cool. So yeah, it's not too long, but still that's about
Um,
3 weeks time with it.
but yeah, leg day's my favorite, so it's been quite the adjust. And I just feel like I just love a good leg day. Like arm day, I don't. I think I'm ready to switch up my routine because I feel like I get bored of like arm and shoulder. So I think I want to go back to chest, shoulder, triceps, and back biceps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
But yeah,
yeah,
leg day,
been
you can get
adding some
creative
new
with it.
workouts in and what?
It's a leg day you can get, creative with. You can push harder.
See, I don't even want to change my leg day though. Like I'm very happy with my leg day, the
Yeah, yeah,
exact exercises I have and the split I have. I
yeah.
don't want to change that. Um, but then I start Pilates next weekend. Um, and but that's
You want to tell us more about what you're doing with that? I don't know what.
yeah, so I got the opportunity to be a Pilates instructor. So I start training for that next weekend. There's an in-person training session all weekend and we'll do workouts there as well. And then I have to have a certain number of like observation hours, teaching hours, and all the fun things before I'm actually like fully certified. But the new studio will open in March, and I think pretty sure it's the end of March. And so at that point, there'll be a few classes I'll be like certified to teach, and then more as I learn more and do more observation hours and such. But I've
That,
never taken Pilates myself, so it's just all reformer Pilates, so it's all brand new. So a little intimidated for that, but my I like we talked about on one of the casts, one of my um like goals for 2024 was to be more uncomfortable, get more comfortable like with being uncomfortable.
yeah.
And just like the uncertainty of things. And one of their mottos is get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Oh,
And so I
cool.
just thought, yeah, I was like, wow, this is kind of a really cool fit.
Yeah.
Um, so it'll be good for me to stand up in front of a class and
Yeah.
teach. It's a little nerve-wracking to think
Yep.
like I'm gonna have to say like, all right, I have to have a 50-minute class memorized.
Yep.
Um,
You'll figure
and
it out. You'll
I'll
you'll
figure it out. I'll figure it out. It'll be good for me to have a new like little community base too. And just excited for like the
yeah.
new adventure.
Definitely. I think that's a good perspective you have on it. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
I feel like, anything that scares you that's positive, that is a
Hmm.
positive thing. If it scares you, then that should be a sign that you're going to grow from it and that it's something you should do. And that's kind of what I've tried to live by a little bit. But that's awesome
Hmm.
that you pull the trigger on it. So I'm excited to hear how that goes.
Yeah.
Obviously keep us all informed so we can come and take your Pilates
Come and
class.
take Pilates. Yeah, I'm
Sure.
excited. Never
I
taken
assume
it.
that's
So
that's going to be in Overland Park, right? You don't need to give all the details, but it'll be in
yeah.
Overland.
It's in
Awesome.
Overland Park. So yeah, I'm excited.
Exciting. Exciting. Well, cool. Um, Real quick before we get into today's topic, did you see my post on Instagram last night? I went
The,
golfing with
this
Nicole and Lola,
oh
and I got to hole one and realized both my putters
oh
broke.
my God. Yeah, I did think of that. I was like, I just got him that damn putter head, like the
Yep.
cover, and he left
Yep.
it at home.
Yep. Well, because I have a putter returner thing downstairs in the basement. So during the
Mm.
Super Bowl, we were just kind of, practicing on there. So I
You
forgot they
keep
were
saying
down.
Super Bowl, and it has not been the Super Bowl.
Whatever, AFC Championship. Anyway, AFC Championship game, and we were putting downstairs, and I forgot to put it back in my bag, and which is even more irritating that I have two putters. I didn't even have one of them in my goddamn golf bag. So we get all the way there, and then I asked the dude like at hole one, like an old man, he's like 95 years old, was like, "You're not even gonna believe this, dude, but I left both my putters back at home." I was like, "I'm gonna have to putt with a 3 wood unless you're able to go find me a putter. Like if there's, somebody lost one." I was like, "I'll give it back as soon as I get back. I just don't have a putter right now." He went and searched, came up to me on like hole 3 or 4, and was like, "Dude, I looked everywhere, couldn't find a putter." I putted well with a 3 wood. So if you ever need a third string putter for yourself, the 3 wood's solid. I almost sunk a 40-foot putter. It was completely on the other side of the green, and it landed about a foot away from it.
Hey, there you go.
I parred a hole, which is hard enough for me to do, let alone using a 3 wood as a putter. But anyway,
Did you do 9 holes or par three, or what'd you do?
I did a 9 hole par three, but we only got, I think we got 6 holes in. I say we, Nicole and Lola went with me. They didn't golf at all, but
Lola didn't golf, really?
yeah, no, she didn't. She was on Nicole's chest in the golf cart hanging out. But no, actually, I was going to do a par three. They no golf carts though, and I don't want to make Nicole and them walk it, so I changed over and did a full one. So yeah, so I parred a par four with a 3 wood as my putter. I had like 3 holes where I two putted, so that was pretty solid. But Renee, I think you're a little frozen right now. At least on my end, you are. But anyway, though, so let's get into today's topic. Today we are talking about motivation.
Sorry, it
There
froze.
you go. All right, cool. I was talking through it. Luckily, are we even recording? Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're recording, but
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
forgot.
hear the last minute.
You're good. I switched over and started talking about today's topic that we're
Okay,
talking about
cool.
is motivation. Now, a lot of times we talk about don't rely on motivation. If you're relying on motivation, you're probably going to fail because motivation is going to ebb and it's going to flow. And especially if you're at the beginning of your journey, but even if you're 10 years into your journey, you're going to have times, stretches, of days, stretches of weeks, stretches of months, different seasons of your life where you're going to be unmotivated on some of the things we're talking about with health and fitness or other things as well. And so that's why we cannot rely on motivation, but that does not mean that motivation is hurtful in any way. Motivation is awesome when you have it and it's great to seize it. And you should look for ways to increase your motivation. You shouldn't rely on it, but you should always be striving for ways to keep yourself moving the right direction, keep yourself energized about whatever those goals are that you have. Um, you know, so we all have our whys, what our why was when we first started, training or, working on this lifestyle change or this journey, whatever the case is. So Renee and I are going to share kind of both of our whys and then also some kind of strategies that we use to keep ourselves motivated during that time as well. So our why and then our motivation that kind of kept us going, and then we'll circle back and kind of talk about our current motivation, motivators and what keeps us going today versus when we first started. So Renee, when you got first started in fitness, what was the motivating reason why you got started? Let's start there.
Yeah, so mine revolves around mental health. I had just wanted to be a little bit healthier in general. When I first started working out, I still was like drinking and partying and such, but I wanted to start learning how to cook. So I started doing HelloFresh and I wanted to start adding in some workouts. And so that's when I started my 5 a.m. workouts. And the biggest tip I have was if like starting around that time is I used the time change to my advantage. So like the day the time changed, it just started with my routine was just a lot easier. And then I slowly like was being very introspective and just started to learn the days I would get up and work out in the mornings, the entire day would just go so much smoother. Um, and so it just kind of spiraled into that aspect. And then slowly, like little parts of my life just started coming together. Once I was eating healthier, I just became more aware of things. And noticed more like changes in my mental health, more energy, things like that. And then again, that's also when I quit drinking a few months later. So my entire why and motivation all comes down to my mental health. And then at that point, I started realizing and like watching my body transform. And that's when I started to fall in love with fitness of like, oh my gosh, like this is me and only me doing this for myself. And I'm the one that's making these results happen. And so did a lot on my own, just having no idea what I was really doing, terrible form, just going and showing up for myself. And then my apartment gym actually shut down and I had to like I was like, well, I want to keep going to the gym. So I found a gym to go to. And that's when I got my first in-person trainer. And then everything from there kind of just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when I got my first. I didn't even know what like a gym split was until then. I had no idea. I was just doing random stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so when I got my first trainer is when I
Got some more
truly
structure.
continued that habit and learned more.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
That
that's
makes
me. What about
what
you?
um
Or you want to go back to me?
well we'll come back to kind of the current why and the current motivators and things of that nature. But so no, my initial whys, I mean, first and foremost, um I didn't necessarily have to start because I kind of, I went to the gym with my dad as a little kid. Like I was used to going there as a little kid, watching him work out, and then being in the daycare, and then after that, I was in competitive sports all my life and stuff like that. So fitness was already always a component of what I did. So then it just made they started bringing some weights like in middle school to our baseball practices. So that was kind of one of the things we would do within baseball practice as well. But then around that time is kind of when I noticed that, oh my God, if I do, a couple workouts a week, like I was seeing growth already at that time. So that was really helpful. And then obviously high school was kind of the big thing as well. But if you don't know me, I'm 5'6", and I've always been, shorter than everybody else. And before I started working out, I was vastly undersized. Like I'm always going to be short, but I didn't have a lot of muscle mass to me either. I was always a lot smaller. So I think I came in high school at like 115, 120 pounds and was probably like 5'2". So definitely smaller side. And then I never really got the growth spurt that I was always praying for. It was the very gradual, slow progression with that. So I was never gonna, turn heads or, get looks at for baseball due to my height. But if I was bigger and stronger and things of that nature, I could still, turn some heads in terms of whether it's in the gym, the gym or the baseball field or whatever the case was. And so that kind of helped me stand out and kind of gave myself a outside of baseball another what word am I looking for here?
Outlet?
Identity. I mean,
Oh,
yes, outlet as well for that type of stuff, but it gave me that identity as well. So that was kind of my original why, and I mean that why still kind of pushes me forward today because again, I'm still 5'6", and I always want to be bigger. That's kind of always a fear is to go back to not feeling strong and things of that nature. So that's always been my why. It always will be a big factor of my why. I've gotten more away from that than what I used to. But things that kind of motivated me at the time though when I first started, and that's kind of what stemmed the thought of talking about this exact topic today was what were the things that, yes, I was in high school and yes, I was at college and things of that nature. So I had energy. I didn't have to share my energy and time and things of that nature with a family and with a career and things of that nature. But then or not then, something that's always been motivating is finding people to follow, number one, that you look up to. So in sports, that was always Derek Jeter for me. And then as I got into, high school and college, it was Arnold, it was some bigger bodybuilders that I kind of, wanted to emulate a little bit. So one of the things I did, especially when I was first learning different workout splits, Renee had a trainer to help out with this. I didn't have a trainer. I was just always in the gym, but I would watch YouTube videos of some of my favorite bodybuilders or fitness people, just to see how what were their workouts like? If they were doing a back workout, what did that look like? What did their sets look like? What did their reps look like? And kind of what were the different exercises? And I would watch it. I would pick up the cues. I would listen to them explain it. I would watch them do it. And then I would go take that same workout and then go try to apply it into the gym my own. And I would continue to do that. And I did that for years. I probably did that for the first 4 or 5 years of my working out experience, was watching a YouTube video before I was going to come in and do that. And that's one of the things that, I always recommend, especially if you're newer and you don't really know what you're doing quite yet in the gym, is you could go YouTube things just like I did with it. But the great thing about that training app is that you can go hop on a piece of cardio for 5 or 10 minutes before you actually start your workout, or sit in the sauna and do this, and go through and watch the videos for those different exercises. So you have an example of what you're about to go do before you go and do it. And then you can go and try to emulate that as well. But those videos really, really helped me. They were always motivating. And then the other factor as well, and I've gotten away from this for the most part, my latter 20s, but what was pre-workout. And I think we talked about, somebody mentioned this in the community group the other day, had a good discussion about it, some back and forth on what people do for their pre-workout. But if you've never taken pre-workout, there's stimulant type pre-workouts, meaning there's caffeine in it, and there's non-stimulant, which means there's no caffeine in it, but they have all the other ingredients in it to make it a good pre-workout. But it's that was one of the things that really kind of helped me get going at first, because there were days, just like we all have, that we're not excited to get to the gym. We got low energy. We're not motivated to go to the gym, things of that nature. So when we have that pre-workout, it can kind of help us override that. If you're getting off work at 4 p.m. and you're just not feeling the gym, even though that's your time to go to the gym that week, then that would be nice to have as well, whether it's a stimulant or non-stimulant pre-workout as well. And so to me, that helps. The days that I don't really want to go to, as soon as I took that scoop, I was going to have energy and I was going to feel like working out, whether mentally I did before that scoop or not. So I think those two things really, really helped me in that first little bit. Now my version of pre-workout is I either have non-stimulant pre-workouts, or I'll just drink, a cup of coffee before I go to the gym, really regardless of what time I'm going. But yeah, so those are some of the things that I think helped me out getting going with it. And then obviously once I started Thriving Lives, that help push it through. And I think that'll be another motivating force for Renee as well, is that, it's part of our livelihood. It's our business as well, to be, to walk the walk, you know what I mean? So
I
yeah.
think another thing, for me during starting all of that was to hold myself accountable to going to the gym. Was I took a picture at the gym every single time I went.
Yes.
And it's to me it's crazy because I had no idea like what it would ever bring me, but now I started a little album on my phone like right when I like started doing all of it. Um, and it's just probably, I mean, it's hundreds. I think
Yeah.
there's like 800 some photos in there of just
Just you at the gym.
mirror selfies at the gym.
Yep.
And while it sounds vain to some people, to me it was a way for me to like track my progress, because I mean, I wasn't taking progress pictures or anything. I didn't have a goal in mind, and I didn't have
Yeah.
any, like I said, any previous fitness knowledge or coach
Yeah.
at these times or anything like that. But just going and holding myself accountable to being at the gym, and then it was to take that picture. And sometimes, I just got excited to take a picture, or just little things. And then just the cool distinction of like when the pictures changed from the cardio section to I entered the weight section. I remember like being so intimidated that I was going to the weight section and there was no one in the gym. Like it was an apartment gym, no one else in there. And I still was intimidated, had no idea what to do. And so in those moments too, I think it's just really cool to be able to look back on it and see, yeah, it's just little tiny things that helped keep
Yeah.
pushing me forward, but I didn't even realize what I was doing for myself at the time.
100%. 100%. Well, I think and that's one of the things where some people, when they first join, they're like, I don't want to take any pictures, or whatever the case is. And I respect that. Like, I get that. But none of us really like where we started from. That's a big piece of why we all start this journey in some way, shape, or form. It might not be the whole reason, it might not be the main reason why we do it, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look a little bit better and feel a little bit better. You know what I mean? So having those pictures though, it's awesome to be able to go look back on that and you're like, that's 800 days. And half of those I might not have really wanted to. Over half of those I felt uncomfortable going to the gym, but every day I overcame that. And so
Hmm.
you can look at that 100 different ways and see awesome benefits from that, other than just Renee, taking a picture of herself in the mirror. Like it's way, way more than that. And I think that that's important to recognize. Something else
I
I just
think
remember.
oh, sorry.
No, no, you're good.
I was gonna say the other thing too is that doing things in the gym make you have more confidence in other areas of your life. Like, um, had I not been comfortable taking pictures at the gym, I would not have been as successful as I am now with like posting on social media and things like that. Like, um, I've trained myself to take those photos, and now I mean, there's times, yeah, of course, when it's still uncomfortable to like go in front of a giant gym and take a picture in the mirror.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, like it's
it's not
they're
full.
not going to see me again. They don't care what I'm doing. I care what I'm doing, and I would rather invest in myself
Yep.
and growing my business and sharing about my life to
Yeah.
influence other people's lives and help them, as
Yeah.
opposed to sitting there thinking like, oh, what's someone going to think if I take a picture in the mirror? Or like, what's
Yep.
someone going to think if my movement is wrong or things like that. Um, but that like trickles over into other parts of your life of just having the confidence to do other things in general.
Well, and
Because you've figured out how to do it in the gym, so now you have the confidence to do it in other places.
to extend that further as well, in terms of just like, the picture in the gym like that, when you then when we go turn around and post it on social media, when I first started, Thriving Lives and posting about my fitness journey, and I know that you kind of go through this as well, Renee, it's like, I don't want people to feel like I'm braggy or people to think,
Oh yeah, that's a tough one.
or when, the thought of other people judging me and what I'm doing,
Hmm.
all that type of stuff. But when it comes down to it, and what really helped me get over that as well, and this doesn't have to be even for a coach, just anybody in this lifestyle, or making lifestyle changes on your health journey, when you post about it, there might be other people that are judging it. There probably are. And those people probably have their own demons, own issues. And that's really that, them projecting that on you. But you're also going to help a lot of other people as well. And that's kind of what I recognize, is that if I stayed silent and didn't post my journey, I would have never got my first client. If I didn't post about their journey or continue to post about my own journey, I wouldn't have got my second client or my 300th or 500th or whatever the case is. And so that's where I look at it, is that if I am stepping out of my comfort zone and making this post, and I still feel that way, now it's a little bit more automatic and it's less effort, but sometimes, it's still vulnerable to kind of share your story with it, especially going through different, life stages like I'm currently at. But I know that the more that I post about that stuff, the more that's going to be influential to other people, whether they become a client or not. They're
Yeah.
seeing it and they're saying, "Oh my God, I can do this too." Oh my God, it helps them on their journey as well.
I have a similar story to that too. There was a guy, he went to the gym at 5 a.m. all the time. And
Mhm.
like I feel like it's 5 a.m. So like not many people are awake, but like when I would get up to work out at 5 a.m., I would see his stories. And like just with him going, I was like, okay, I can do this too. Like I mean, met him
Yep.
a few times, like I know who he is and things like that. But it's not like we were like talking or connecting, but then slowly like just through talking, I was like, hey, like your posts have always like been a huge
Yeah.
motivator to me.
Yeah.
um and so that was cool. And then I've had my friends share similar experiences with my posts.
Yeah.
They're like, damn it, like Renee's meal prepping again, like I should
Yeah.
probably do that. Or my friend said one of her friends didn't want to go on her run, like she had to, but she saw my story and I was at the gym, so she felt like she could go to the gym. And so even if people aren't saying it, people are watching your journey and seeing you succeed, and it's going to naturally just rub off on other people.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool that I think both of us can like look back on and see,
Yeah, definitely.
even if no one's commenting on it, it's still very much so helping other people,
100. And,
while
and
it's helping you.
and that's no matter what stage of it you're at. You could be at the very, very beginning stages, and you might have just done something once this week. And if somebody else sees it, whether it's through a post, they just see it in real life, it could be very, very, well, inspiring to those people to start their own journey with it as well. And so when you look back at the end of the day and you're like, I not only changed myself and how I feel and all that stuff, but I just helped one other person at least. And that one other person, there's a chance they could be just like you and affect one other person. And so that's also what I love to think about is, I know for a fact I've touched X amount of lives just through clients that I've had. I also think about it from a teacher perspective. I got to work with, I don't know, 1,000 different students or plus during my teaching career, and a lot of that was talking about health and fitness, things of that nature. So it's cool to think that I affected that many lives. I know that some of them went home and started, healthier habits with their parents. I know that it spreads from there. Just you, being a positive person for yourself, even if you're not doing it for other people, it will have the effect on other people. Once you see that one time, it definitely makes you feel good knowing that you were that positive influence, for somebody else in their journey as well. One of the other things that I forgot about as well is, one of the things that really helped me out in the very beginning was having a workout partner, whether that's a group of workout people or workout partner. Now, I will say this is easier when I was in high school or college or things of that nature, because your buddies don't have jobs, or even if they do, like it's flexible. You have a lot more time in the day. When you're 30 years old and you have kids, or 40 years old, whatever the case is, you have a job, your friends have jobs, things of that nature. So it's tougher to have those workout partners. But those who have a workout partner or a workout group, that's one of the things that makes, boot camp style classes and gyms like Blush and things like that, or Orange Theory, is there's a community feel to it. So there is that added benefit. Do I think those are necessarily the best workouts? Not necessarily. And we don't need to get in the weeds with that. But it does keep people going though, and you feel that sense of community, and you get more excited for your workout, because even if you're not necessarily excited for the workout, you're excited to go see Jim or Jane at the gym, things of that nature. It's a ready-made kind of friend time on top of you progressing as well. So if you have those options in your life, people that want to start going to the gym, are going to the gym, are people that you could tag along with, or vice versa, definitely go for it. I know that we've had some people here in TLF that have actually connected through just the community, and they've gotten some workouts together. Dexter, who's on here right now, he's one of those, with a couple different guys up at the Liberty Genesis. So I think that's awesome when they send me pictures of them working out together. They didn't know each other before TLF, and they met through that as well. And so I think that's, things like that are really, really awesome to see. But I think,
I have a separate, like, I'm the opposite on that story.
yeah,
Um, I feel like when you're first starting out too, I think it can be intimidating when you work out with people. Like if someone else already has a workout routine and you don't,
yeah,
I think you have to be in a very like just with the way my mindset works, and this is the difference between Marcus and I being optimistic versus pessimistic.
yeah,
Um,
sure.
when I would work out with other people and see them doing stuff, I feel like I would feel shittier, and I would feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not in shape. I can't do as good as they're doing.
As
And
many weight
so
or whatever the
it's
case
for me, what?
is, that not be able to do as many reps or as much weight as that person.
Right. Right. And so for me, I would much rather work out on my own and be in my own little world and use that time as like me time.
Yep.
Um,
True too. Yep.
definitely at the beginning. And then now there's time still too. Like if my sister will go with me to the gym, she'll try to push herself too hard to match my weight
Yep.
now that I'm more experienced. And that's when I have to like slow her down and be like, look, I do this 24/7. Like you don't need to be at my weight. You don't need to be doing all the things that I'm doing. So I think sometimes there can be that like supportiveness, but I think also you have to know yourself and know if you're going to sit there and compare yourself to the other person the entire time, because then you're just going to feel like shit and not want to go back.
Of course.
So just be aware of your own.
Well,
Uh,
and be aware of your own thing, but come in with the right
yeah.
kind of expectations. Know where the other
Mhm.
person's at. You're right. You bring up points that, I mean, yeah, there were definitely times, but in my opinion, like when I would do that, because I was working out with like linemen. I was 120 pounds and 5'2", and I'm working out with dudes that are 300 pounds. So it comes time where you learn how to check your ego. There's shit that I
Mhm.
can't do, and I'm okay with that. And vice versa. I was going to be better at the core work, or at the more endurance type of things like that, or just certain movements, like arms I've always been way stronger at than some other body parts. So those were some things that they were maybe not doing as well with. But yeah, you're right though, Renee. I think I'm one type of person, you're one type of person, everybody inside of TLF. Maybe working out with other people would be too much of a distraction. Maybe you hate people, and or maybe that's just your alone time. That's just your you time, which is also fantastic as well. But I think if you're struggling with motivation, if you're struggling getting to the gym, I think it's worth trying the different avenues. Um,
Mhm.
you can't get yourself to the gym. even though Renee and I are trying to hold you accountable with it, then find somebody else that will possibly hold you accountable, even if they're not actually going to the gym with you, but just a texting buddy. Like I've got people in here that will text each other about, holding each other accountable, or they will do that with their friends and their family and things like that. So again, should motivation be 100% relied upon? Definitely not. But find as many support systems and it's the different ways that you can, gain that momentum or gain that motivation during those tough times with it. Another thing as well as are the progress pictures. That can be motivating in itself. Going back and rereading old check-ins, maybe
Mhm.
where we first came from. We've talked about it on here as well, is seeing where you came from. I think that's why again, I treat check-ins like journal entries. So if you go back and look at those, just like if you went back and looked at your journal, you're going to see a lot of growth over that course of time. So those are motivating things with it as well.
And it
Again,
gets addicting too. Like when you look back and see your growth, then that just will spiral the motivation forward of, oh
definitely.
shit, like yeah, I've done this. I can
Yep,
keep doing it. I can get
yep,
better. So it is really cool to watch yourself grow. And you
100%.
can't, the thing is though, you have to consistently work out. You have to consistently put in the time and effort to see those results. Like Marcus and I didn't get to our points here by working out once a week for 2 months straight.
Yep.
Like we put our heart and soul into like, no, you don't need to work out maybe 6 times a week like we did. However, it gets to a point where you have to have that solid routine to be able to grow and to put more efforts and more priorities into it.
Yep.
So
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Putting it on, like we talked about like the burner analogy, like the stove analogy last week. I know I posted about it, but I don't know if
I
you.
we might have. I think we did.
Yeah. Yeah. But well, I know that I was struggling with that myself. It was funny because that's where I made some posts and stuff about it. I realized last week, on Thursday and Friday, Lola was her sleep schedule kind of changed and she's been a lot more awake during the day. Whereas I was used to her being, awake. I'd feed her, I'd feed myself, we'd play a little bit, I'd change her, all that stuff, and then she'd go to sleep after about 90 minutes. Then I have about 90 minutes to 2 hours to get work done. And on Wednesday last week, she just stopped sleeping. I was stressed off. I was stressed out when I got on the Zoom call last week on Wednesday, but then after Thursday and Friday, I was just burnt out. But part of that is setting such high expectations for myself in terms of what I can get done each day, and realizing, one of the analogies I've always used with clients is, especially clients with careers and children, which is majority of people here, is we only have four burners on a stove and we have, one warming spot on that stove as well. So ultimately, if we think about that in terms of our life, we only have so many things we can actually give energy to on a given day. And we might have to shuffle those pots around and take one off the stove and add another one on. But like in terms of your pillars, your pots that you're dealing with on the stove, you have your family, you have your job, you could have your health and fitness, you could have, church might be your thing, or whatever your activities are. It could be taking care of the house, whether that's cleaning or mowing or whatever the case is, doing the dishes, tending to kids, taking them to activities. You have these pots that you have to kind of shuffle things around. And so are you going to be able to accomplish everything on any given day? No, we kind of got off on a little tangent here than what the actual topic was. But I struggled with that really, really hard last week on Thursday and Friday. I had to remind myself of that same analogy. And that's when it's important to, number one, know when to give yourself grace and that you're not going to be able to do everything on every single day. And if you have the expectation that you will, you're going to let yourself down and you're going to be frustrated over and over again and feel like you're just in quicksand. When in reality, you're doing a damn good job. You can just only our capacity with a given day with 24 hours in the day, something's got to give,
And
and
you can only add in so much stuff to what you existing, like what you already have. And at some point you have to weigh out like what is going to change. Like I used to religiously go 6 days a week. And then I got into a relationship and I was like, oh shit, I don't have time for
yep,
work,
work.
relationship,
Yep.
6 days a week in the gym, me time, and my dog and all this shit. And so I was like, it was tough for me because the gym was my place. I felt like I had to go 6 days a week, and that was my top priority. And so to drop that to add something else in was tough, but it was an adjustment that needed to happen. And so same thing. If you think you already have too many burners with family, church, work, whatever, you might need to drop one of those to add in the fitness priority.
And it doesn't
Uh,
mean you can't still give energy to those, but you're not going to be able to give it
Minimize it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You're minimizing it and you're putting it, again, like, are we going to work out every single day? No. So 4 days of the week, your fitness pop might be on the burner, but then the other days, maybe that's less of a priority because you have to give energy to other things. So understanding that that's why reflection's so key. That's why your check-ins are so key. So we can think back to how this last week went and what were we giving a lot of energy to? What did we not give energy to? And should we readjust those pots around? Should we readjust our priorities for this coming week? So one thing might take the back seat, one thing might take the spotlight. But again, especially if health and fitness are truly your priorities, again, you might not be able to 100% execute them, but you should still raise that maintenance level in terms of what your baseline is that you're accomplishing each day. So that way, it's never fitness and health are never fully off the stove. They just might be on the warmer. They just might be just getting by, which is way better than just fully taking them off the stove in general with it. But yeah, definitely give yourself grace on it. But kind of back to, the motivation side of things. One of the things that, in terms of what keeps us motivated now, we'll kind of dive into that and also kind of talk about, what motivates our clients when they first come to us, but the importance of us, reminding them of what their why is. And that morphs and changes over time. But Renee, I think yours is mainly kind of the same thing that started you in this journey in terms of your why. So what motivates you now? What's your why now? How has that changed?
So yes, a lot of it still is mental health. However, therapy kind of takes the top burner on mental health, and I am just way more aware. So I kind of use mental health in every aspect of my life, I would say.
Yep.
Um, but to me, I would say the biggest motivator is the fact that I'm actively trying to immerse myself way more into a fitness career. Um, so it is a lot of it is, yeah, I'm preaching this, so I have to go out and do it. And sometimes that's been a struggle for me that I've had to overcome is um going to the gym and then feeling like I have to record my workout
Yeah.
or feeling like I have to reply to clients when I'm working out because they need my attention. Um, and that's been a struggle for me. So I had to get back to a point where I started enjoying working out again.
Yep.
And going to the afternoon workouts definitely helped because I wasn't as like I
Rushed.
wasn't just going through the motions anymore. Um, but then the other part of it is too just like watching myself get more muscular is a big motivator. Not that I'm trying to be a bodybuilder, but it is fun. Like I've seen my biceps and shoulders and glutes grow more than I ever like really thought. And so that's been a cool motivator.
You lift some
Um,
heavier weight, getting stronger and stronger, which is just
yeah, heavier weight, squatting
empowering in
more.
itself. You know what I mean? I don't think there's one person in the world that if you picked up a heavy weight and were able to move that weight, you wouldn't feel good about that.
Right.
Even if
Mm-hmm.
fitness is not on your radar whatsoever, if you could lift some heavy ass weight, you'd feel pretty good about that. I don't think
Yeah, you
there's
feel pretty, yeah, you just,
it wouldn't feel
yeah,
that way.
you feel good. And so, yes, it is a mental thing for me still, but it's not as, like, I would say therapy is more of the mental thing for me, but it's still like the movement. Like, I feel better when I have more movement. I am happier. I feel more accomplished. I feel more awake in the mornings. And that's easier, of course, when it's summer outside and I can walk outside in the mornings and things like that. But it is funny how something that was like the top burner to me got to a point where I was like, okay, I have to figure out like it became instead of just a hobby, it became a job. And so I had to learn how to blend those and I'm still learning it.
Yep.
Um
That's gonna ebb and it's gonna flow. I have some months
mhm.
where it kind of feels like that as well. Like I'm doing it just for this reason. And then other months that I'm just like feeling fantastic with it.
But
But
I never like just go to the gym so that other people go to the gym. Like that's I
yeah,
don't go to the gym just to post a picture or just to work out.
right.
Like so I show other clients to work out. Like that's not the motivator. It's just making me feel good. But it's the task of like, oh, I should post about this. But you like I've learned it. But yeah, there's no part of me that goes just as a job.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
it's still
No,
very much so my own. me time and
Yes. Yeah.
growth and
It's
pouring
it,
time
it's
into
a
myself.
it's you trying to just balance the work side of it and not let that bleed too much into
Yes.
the enjoyment side of it, which is it can be hard to do because it's so blended already that it's
Yeah.
there's so much, kind of gray area that you're like, oh, that's okay. This kind of blends in, but then sometimes a little bit too much. But for myself, and really, this is again, a lot of people here have children, but and this is one of the motivating things that I just talked to a potential new client today about this exact same thing. But my big why right now is Lola. Like I want her to grow up being proud of me, which our children are all gonna be proud of us to some extent, just because we're their parents. We're their superheroes, especially as they're younger. But I want when she gets old and wiser and an adult to still have that same respect and admiration for me, not just because I'm her dad, but because I've lived the right way in some of these ways with it. But I want to emulate what I ideally want her to kind of at least see as be habits. For instance, I was talking with somebody today about this exact thing, and I asked them, when your sons are 35 years old, you know, do you want them going through some of the same struggles you're going through? Whether that's blood pressure issues or other underlying health issues. Is that the weight? Is that how your low confidence, things of that nature? And does that feel good to kind of talk about? No, it doesn't. But the key thing with that though is that then we can think, okay, I don't want them to grow up to have the same thing just like I do. And I think that that's the same thing for all parents in all these other ways. Our parents all cause trauma in some way, shape, or form, small, big, whatever the case is. Most time it's very, it's always unintentional, I feel like. Nobody wants to cause some of that stuff, but it just is going to happen in some way, shape, or form. So we want to be better for that for our children and so that they don't, pick up some of our bad habits and things like that. But I feel like sometimes that kind of gets lost in health and fitness. And so that's one of my biggest goals is, I want her to grow up to see how I grocery shop, to see me be active, to see me go on walks and things of that nature, because that just makes it much more just natural in her life. She's not going to have to get to 20 years old and be like, oh, I need to start working out. Like ideally it just kind of becomes ingrained in just what her normal life is like. Like I said, my dad used to take me to the gym growing up. And so that's always been a part of my life is we make time for the gym. Like we make time. We don't find time. We make time to get there. It's a priority for us. And so I grew up with that just being an automatic. I had to learn the nutrition side of it for myself. But once I learned that, again, that's another thing that's just become automatic. So that's my biggest, why now. I mean, obviously running Thriving Lives is a big motivating thing. Still, me being undersized, I always want to be bigger and stronger and things of that nature. But the big thing now though is her. And so that is always going to be a motivator for myself moving forward with it. And then my biggest thing too is just like investing in your retirement accounts, into your Roth IRA or into your 401k, whatever the case is. Your body's that same exact thing. It's your retirement account and it's your emergency fund, and it's what you have in your checking account today is what your body is essentially. And so we want to keep on investing that stuff so that when I'm retired, I'm not just sedentary, I'm not limited in life. I'm able to go do whatever I want to do, whether that's hiking or go travel. If I want to go to Italy, I don't feel bad about getting the sweet Airbnb that I have to climb 200 flights of stairs for, like we did in Italy a couple years ago. If I was 60 years old and hadn't been able to walk very well and didn't take good care of my body, I could never stay in that same place. So I don't want to be limited in those fashions. So that's my other thing as well, is I know that the actions today are aligned with where I want to be at 30 or 40 years from now. And so the days that I don't want to do it, I know that my future self is going to thank me for that. So that's my other motivating factor. And I think that's a big part of buying into delayed gratification versus that immediate gratification.
That's where you get that discipline. That's a huge thing for me is like my future self will thank me. Like that is always what I live by when I'm meal prepping on Sundays, doing whatever. Like I don't, the thought of me, like I will never skip a meal prep on a Sunday. It doesn't matter. Like, well, okay, I guess one time this um
Shit happens
a
sometimes,
couple
but
weeks ago, I had to meal prep frozen pizza. But that was only one day. And then next day I meal like I still had everything. I knew I had buffer room, but um yeah, like you don't want to disappoint yourself. You need to set yourself up for success because then when life does throw shit at you, you already have your cup starting to be full. instead of just having it be empty.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. That delayed gratification, I think, kind of like you just said, if you can really just buy into that delayed gratification and just know that I want my tomorrow self to be proud of my today self, and if you just repeat that same thing every single day, each day you're going to be pretty damn proud of yourself because you're going to have controlled, quite a few things to kind of get there. But yeah, so that is, I don't know, that's motivation. You got anything else to add to that? I feel like we could definitely talk about this even
I think we
longer.
talk about for hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
But
um, everyone's got to find their own reason why, but I think the biggest thing is that at some point you have to immerse yourself into that if you want to grow. Like my mom, the same thing. She wants bigger glutes, and I have to tell her like, look, yes, I've done that. I've done that through 2.5 years of time and energy and heavy lifting and growth. And it's not something that just, I didn't just do 5 workouts and it's not
yeah,
just going to become part of your lifestyle. Like you have to understand to get there. But at the same time, when you're in that position, like you can't think that big of a picture. Like if I told my mom, hey, yeah, in 2 years, she's gonna be like, well, I don't want to wait 2 years to do it. But like, so it's just the slow process of getting into the gym, doing it. And so that's where she's learning right now too of like, okay, even if I'm not waking up early, I need to get my workout in still because that's what's going to build these habits that get me to my goals. And so that's I think a lot of people think if they don't
and
see results within a couple weeks or a couple months that it's just over with. But that's so wrong. You got to keep doing it, and then you'll get more motivation to keep doing it.
you will. Well, and you'll start to enjoy those things because
Mm-hmm.
you will start seeing results, and not just what you see results. Everybody feels better after they exercise. Like everybody feels better after they exercise. Like you literally have endorphins that are released in your body that make you feel better from the exercise. Same thing with doing anything that you know is positive for yourself. You feel better after doing it. It's just that devil on your shoulder before you actually go to the gym, before you actually meal prep. That's like, wouldn't it just be easier if we just didn't do it? Of course it would be. Wouldn't it just be better and more fun if we, went to Chipotle and came back and binge watch whatever instead of meal prepping and going to the gym? Yeah, in the moment that sounds good, but I know that tomorrow I'm like, damn, I'm unprepared. I got to go out to eat again today. I don't feel good today. I know that I didn't do anything positive for myself that moved me in the right direction. Now, I'm not saying again that you can't have Chipotle and bring it home and binge watch some shit. You should, but that shouldn't take precedent over your exercise and everything else.
And I
Balance.
think that comes back to you have to be self-aware
Yep.
in these times because if you're not self-aware, you're not gonna see the problems with what you're currently doing. And so when you are self-aware, when you do start to do your check-ins and reflect and just things in general, that's when you notice like, oh yeah, like I'm actually not that proud of myself, or I
Yeah.
actually am really proud of myself for doing this. So I think that's a big thing is just being self-aware and just fucking doing it. Like
Yeah.
my dad, the other day we had a conversation, it was kind of cute. I was talking about how I was like so stressed about, I mean, at that time between nutrition certification and Pilates and working 2 or 3 jobs, I was just like, well, how do you do it? Like, you've worked 2 jobs for this long. How do you do? He's like, now I just tell myself, just fucking do it and do the damn thing now. And then, so that's when I like was telling myself, all right, I don't want to study, but I'm just going to fucking do it right now. And
It's taking
those are
off
the people that are
the
successful that are just doing it. Like, it's not an option. You just have to fucking do
exactly.
it.
If you remove the option of not doing
Mhm.
what you know you should be doing, then it's very simple. There's no other option except for, like you said, just do it. Um, and that's the thing is that people want to barter with themselves and make deals with themselves and give themselves options and outs and things of that nature. And if we take off those off the table and the only option on the table is just to go do it, then you're going to go do it. And is it that simple? No, but is it that simple? I think it is.
Yes. Yeah.
It isn't simple, but it is that simple, if that makes any sense. And so it's just a matter of just doing it. It's just a non-negotiable. And you're going to pay your bills every month. You're going to go to work because you don't want to get fired. And you're going to, do some automatic things. And if you treat your meal prep or your grocery shopping or whatever as non-negotiable, then you're going to get it done. Um,
And you're going to see results and you're going to feel better.
Exactly. And do you have to get creative sometimes? Of course you do. If you don't have the money to pay your bills, you're going to figure out a solution. You're going to get a loan, or you're going to ask somebody for for some help, or you're going to ideally not steal, but you're going to do some shit to make sure that bill gets paid and that you have a roof over your head and things of that nature. So if you're going to do all those things and it's a non-negotiable, you're going to have to figure out some way somehow to make it happen. Treat your own body, treat your own health the same way. And again, that might not look optimal today, but doing something is better than nothing, and making some sort of positive efforts is better than nothing as well. So yeah, take the option off the table, make it non-negotiable. Focus on discipline, but also find your motivation. And when you lose your motivation, let discipline take over, but keep searching for other things to motivate you. Keep remembering your why. Keep remembering, the conversation that Renee I had with you when you first joined. You know, Chances are nothing has changed about that why. Chances are you still have the same reasons why. You're just you're lacking that motivation. Maybe you're avoiding that reflection. You're avoiding, I got into this for this reason. I'm not doing a good job for X, Y, and Z reason. It's easier if I just don't pay attention to it. Just like it's easier if I just don't check in. It's easier if I don't think back to what is the reason why I came in the very first place. I'm not there yet. It's easier just to quit at this point, where again, that's the immediate gratification. It's easier just to quit today than it is to persevere, to persist, and keep moving forward. But that future you is going to be really thankful that you did that. And so that ultimately is the easier thing in the long run with it. But anyway, though, good talk today, Renee.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool, cool, cool.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, check-in day is tomorrow. We'll get rocking and rolling with that. But have a great weekend. It's finally Super Bowl, so now Renee will stop correcting me that I keep talking about Super Bowl. It's just AFC Championship game. Super Bowl's on Sunday. This will be posted
No,
tonight.
Go
no
Chiefs.
Zoom call next
Go
week.
Chiefs. Uh,
No Zoom call next week.
yeah, because that is, thank you, because that's
Valentine's Day.
that's Valentine's. It's probably the Chiefs Super Bowl parade, hopefully. But also that'll obviously be happening during the day. But also Valentine's that night as well. So there won't be a Zoom call next week. There will be the following week as well. So we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks on that. But otherwise, though, since the Super Bowl is coming up, enjoy yourself. Most people have some sort of plans. Prioritize that as your cheat meal. So maybe turn down some other social shit, on Friday and Saturday leading up to it, knowing, if you're going to go indulge on Sunday. Drink plenty of water on Sunday. If you sit there dehydrated, even if you're drinking alcohol, things like that, if you're just not drinking any water all day, I guarantee you're going to wake up on Monday morning 5 to 10 to 12 pounds up because of all the heavy salted and high fat and high carb and alcohol and everything else that you had on Sunday. So drink plenty of water, ideally before you go to the, Super Bowls in the evening anyway. So ideally all the meals you're having leading up to that, they're high protein, they're your high nutrient foods. They're a lot of what's on your meal plan. Maybe save a little bit of extra carbs and fats for the evening and then enjoy yourself for the Super Bowl if you're going to. But yeah, so we got that next week. So anyway, check-in day tomorrow though. Good talk tonight, Renee, and we will see you guys on check-in day.
Bye.